Hey guys, today I'm going to talk to you about tyres for video games. Specifically, I'm looking at the Fortnite tyres, as there's such quite a range of them. They're nice and stylized, and they're quite simple, and it's good to actually get looking at the models of existing games and kind of working out how they made them and making them yourself. So we're going to go through the whole process. We're going to model them out. We're going to create the low poly version. We're going to bake on the information from the high poly to the low poly, and we're going to texture them. So we're going to use Blender. We're going to use RizomUVs for a bit of unwrapping, but you don't need to. That's just my way of doing things. And then we're going to take it into Substance Painter to bake and texture, and then export it, and then we can chuck it in back into Blender or into Unity, wherever you like, to check it out and see how it goes, and build a little scene using the tyres. Because every world that you need to make has these little props that you can reuse and fill up your worlds. And I reckon we could do about three or four. I'll figure it out later on in the video, and we'll put them all into one texture pack, all 3 tyres, and we can reuse that through creations of our worlds. So yeah, we're going to follow the whole process. If you want to watch the whole series, I'm going to put it into separate parts so you can follow along, maybe make some of your own and show me in the comments below. Once I finish the project, I'll put the files in the comments, and you can practice with the baking and the texturing and the what have you from the files that are available. Or you could just use the end files if you want to use them for something. But yeah, we're going to try and make this as a series going forward, and we'll see how it turns out. So yeah, we'll go into Blender now and get started. Right, so before you do anything with any kind of modeling, you need to gather all your references or images, just things that interest you about what you want to make, things that can influence your design, basically everything. So what I recommend is using Pureref. So this is a Pureref file I've already got. I just took some screenshots of what we just seen in the game for different tyre designs. You can scroll in and have a look at them better. But yeah, everybody will tell you to get this. Just go on the pureref.com, download it, and it is perfect for filling up loads of references. For example, you can just drag and drop straight on it and build up your references, and you can press Control-N to leave little notes, tyres, and build up different sections. Yeah, you need to have this for your referencing. Get this program. So there's 3 different ways we can model some tyres. I'm going to show you quickly the first 2 through speed up videos, and then go through the third one more in depth. The first one we're going to look at is just literally changing the geometry of an existing cylinder. So as we said before, we could chuck in a cylinder of size 1632, whatever you fancy, and make some loop cuts in it with Control R, and start manipulating the loops by rotating them around. I want to say the Z-axis, might be the X-axis. Just play around with it, and you can create these, that kind of V shape or whatever you're going for. In this case, I don't know what happened. I would end up like a Wonder Woman symbol, but it kind of like a big truck tire type thing going on. This way isn't the best. It's not bad if you want to just do some tires with slight indents, simple indents, but vertical ones. But otherwise, I found it quite slow and painful, to be honest, and it'd take a while to get the shape you're after. The second one you can see is probably one you more see on YouTube or through tutorials, is basically adding in planes and manipulating the plane to fit the shape of the treads that you're going for. Obviously, if you have tread reference material, you can create some planes and manipulate each edge to fit that. You only have to do one of the patterns to basically add like some sort of solidify modifier. I think I did on this one, and then use an array, but do it in the Z-axis, so it'll go straight up instead of the X or whatever the default is, and you can play around with the settings. Therefore, you can, once you've done that once, you can kind of manipulate the shape so it fits nicely, and then you got an idea of what it looks like then. then you just basically bring in a circle curve, and on your model that you've just done with the array modifier on, you can just add a curve modifier and basically select the circle, and then you can see it already fits the shape. You might need to tweak the direction. It depends where you've modeled in the first place, but if you've done it like me, you should be able to just go for it straight away. It's more than likely you just need to apply the scale and rotation, and then it might just work out. You just increase the array then to fit the shape, and then you can scale. If it doesn't quite fit, you can scale it slightly and hold shift and at the same time to get like that really close, like that small increment of the scale, so it all fits nicely. You know, you can. This is a good way to do, you know, unique patterns. But the issue I found with it was when, okay, so I was looking at the one in the background, as you can see, and I was like, well, okay, well, how do I do the side section? Because they're not like uniform indents, they're kind of like scattered. How would you go about doing that as well? As you can see, you know, you could play around with the modifiers, bevels, subdivisions, and kind of get the shape you want. I didn't like the length of the pattern, so I tweaked it and then reduced the amount in the array. You just got to keep tweaking and tweaking, but you can get some interesting treads by doing this. You know, and it can be a funky pattern. But the issue I had when it comes to it was when I wanted to indent in the tire rather than add in geometry on top. It didn't, you know, I was kind of messing around with, do I add loop cuts and start editing that like I did in the first part, or how would you go about it using this technique of using the array and the curve modifier? So what I ended up doing was just kind of like playing around, making some different weird cutout shapes, similar to what you did in the first one, trying to match that indent in the background. And let's just say it didn't really go to plan. But it's a good technique to practice. I would recommend doing the first two ways of doing things in this tutorial. Just practice yourself. Try and do one through modifying the original cylinder, and then try this one get used to using the array and the curve modifier, because the curve can be a pain in the ass sometimes. So it's worth just having a few practice runs at it. See what shape you can get. You probably can get some really nice tires coming out through the extruded shapes, but yeah, these indents, as you can see, I was trying to add a Boolean modifier and take it out of the original tire, and it you know, it kind of got there, but it wasn't quite great. And then because of how much is going on, the app crashed. The third option I'm going to show you, the one I like the best, is to sculpt onto the mesh using a multi-resolution modifier. And it's not as clean as the other ones can be. You know, if you're going for realistic tires, use the array one and get that clean, crisp shape that you want. But if you're going for more stylized ones, like the Fortnite tires, for example, like we're going to do now, or just in general quirky ones, then I would use this sculpting technique, because you can create so many tires so quickly that it is worth doing. So first of all, we're going to add in a subdivision modifier. We'll just press Control-3, add one in, and we can apply that straight away. It doesn't matter, because we've got this backup one. We can use this. Next, we're going to add a multi-resolution modifier. What we're going to do is we're going to click Subdivide 1, 2, 3 times, and that'll give us 1.4, in this case, 1.4 million tries to work with. It depends how many subdivisions you've put on in the first place, not with the subdivisions modifier, but we can go to 3. If you obviously only did level of 1 or 2 on the subdivision, then you have to go more on the multi-resolution modifier. But this way, we can go into sculpting mode, and we can carve straight in on a mesh, and it's non-destructive because of this modifier. So you can write hi on the tire. When I go back, if I wanted to, I could just get rid of this, and it gets rid of all my sculpt, and it goes back to my original mesh. And then otherwise we can we can lower it down. So if your PC is struggling, you can go to 2. You know, your lines aren't going to be as clean because you've only got 300,000 tries to work with, but it depends on your PC. You can still get some nice results. I'll go 3. I'm not sure what. I could click for 4. How many is that going to give us? We can have a look. I'll just delete this one now because obviously I mess around on it. So if we go 1, 2, 3, 3 is 1.4 million, and 4 in my case is 5.7 million. I think that's still okay to work with, but since we're making lots of them, I don't think we need to go that much. You may think, oh yeah, you're making a tire with 1 million tries. It's going to be heavily optimized. But we are going to bake this information onto a very low poly, probably like 120 try wheel. We'll figure it out later on. But yeah, this is literally just our high poly sculpt. I will go back down to 3. I don't think 4 is needed. So in this case now we can carve straight on it. So, but how do we make these patterns? What we want to do is use a radial symmetry. So this drop down menu up here, you can see radial, X, Y, Z. If we change X to 18, for example, you can see it'll repeat all around our tire. As long as you've applied the scale rotation and everything, and you've set it up just like I did, then this will all work the same. You know, you might have set it up in the different direction. You might have set it up in the side view instead of the front view, like mine. Then you might need to change the Y setting on this drop down menu. But yeah, 18. We're going to play around with this number, but the radial X is what you want to do. And then if you want, obviously we've got these indents on. For example, I'm just going to show you quickly. We've got in this background, we've got these indents on the side. So like maybe the brush is small. This indent going like this, and then like this. Yeah, for example. Just like, we'll just do that for now, alright? Obviously we want it on the other side, so we can just click X to mirror, and then you can see all our blue dots. This is all the points that our sculpt's gonna go on, and it'll match exactly on the other side. So I'm just using the draw sharp tool at the minute where I'm carving in. You could make some really interesting tires. Like I'm just rocking up with this tire going on. You know, thing is you can have so much fun playing around with it. If you turn off symmetry then, and you just that it is a really interesting tire. Nothing normal, but at the end of the day, we're creative. We can just do whatever the hell we want. Next, we have the sculptural brush. If you want to draw straight on, you can. You can press Control, and it does the opposite. It indents. Obviously, these aren't as uniform as you want. It's up to you at the end of the day. However you want it. If you want to, where is it? Stroke. Change it to line. You can click, hold Alt, and it'll go in set ways, and that'll be a dead line, a straight line. Same with like if you were on the top, click, hold Alt, and then you can do a straight line down, and then we've just added a perfect vertical extrusion using our draw brush. And then we can do the same if we Control click and then press Alt to hold it down. It'll do the invert. Obviously, it is not as clean as a normal cut would be because we're using the draw brush at the end of the day. We're not just indenting it, but we can smooth these out. The whole fun of it is to just play around with the sculpting tools. I'll show you this one quickly. We want to use a mask. Let me just pull this out a second. We want to use a mask, for example. We're just going to match this pattern in the background. So with our mask, and we're still using this radial thing. You can change the amount if 18 is not enough for you. I think it should be fine. But we'll put on X as well. We'll put on symmetry. No, we won't actually. Yeah, we will. We're gonna mark out these middle sections, right? The whole point of using, as I said, resize your brush with F if you want. The whole point of using sculpting is to not be like, you don't need to be dead precise, just make it up how you want. It's stylized. Nobody's gonna care. Nobody's gonna look at this in depth. You make it how you want to make it. So I'm just gonna do this shape. Oh god, this shape. It's quite nice. And then what I'm gonna do is copy. I'm not doing a perfectly straight line. There's no need to be extremely precise. I'm just painting on this mask. Playing around with it. Happy little accidents, as they say. Yeah. That's that. And then we'll do the other one, the side bits differently, okay? So we'll start with this. And then we're going to basically come down here and we're going to scale the whole mesh. We're going to scale it in. So you can see the masked areas are staying as they were, and then the rest is going in. Maybe the scale was too much. Well, I don't know, you can play around with it. Hold shift for a smaller increment. And then we can click mask, clear mask, or Alt M. We'll go over then to this mesh filter. Change on the right hand side to smooth. So just left click and drag, and it'll smooth out your shapes a bit. And then you just, let's say if we use the draw sharp, indent the sides, or again if you wanted to use the mask, we could mask in some detail. You know, I'm just going wild right now. Do that for example, and then we can scale it again. The other way. So we've got this kind of rough and ready. Clear the mask, smooth it out a bit, and there we go. Okay, so it's obviously nothing like that one, but with more time and effort, you can create a nicer way of doing it. That's my favorite way of doing it. I think if you look at the edges, they're kind of like a lot more hand done, and probably using this similar technique. Maybe just sculpt it. Maybe you don't even need to use a multi-resolution modifier, but you play around with it. It just saves remeshing and stuff. Make some interesting shapes, and we'll make some tires. What I'll do now is quickly show you. I'll speed process the rest. Me actually making some tires, spending a bit more time on them, because there's only so much you can do when you're doing it like in 2 or 3 minutes, and it just looks naff. So obviously some tutorials make it look perfect, right? I'm not trying to do that. This, you know, it takes time to get nice things. Your best bet is to go and practice yourself. Use the 3 techniques, make a tire, make about 2 or 3 high poly tires, and then you can follow me in the next part when we're going to retopologize and unwrap the tires, and then we're ready for baking and texturing then in the final part. But yeah, guys, watch the rest of this if you like. Just going to be speed videos of me making some tires. Then if this was useful to you at all and you liked the video and you learned something from it, please press the little thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I'll keep making further tutorials. But yeah, follow along the series if you can. Whether you're just starting out, whether you're intermediate, or whether I don't know, whether you just want to learn something that you might not have seen before. My way of doing things, follow it along. We'll make some funky tires, and yeah, it's just something to play around with. Leave a comment below if there's any other techniques you think might have been good to use. But yeah, watch along. As I said, you don't get the greatest results doing it dead quick. You got to spend a bit of time. And what I'm going to do now is go and spend some time making some tires, and we'll get to it. So the files for these ones might not be in the description yet. They're not, then they're probably in the next video or the one after that. I'll try to add them back in though once this whole series is finished. Yeah, guys, follow along, follow the series, and show me your results. I love to see them.